Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. This is a special episode because I'm going to try this beautiful little lens right here, the 7Artisans 10mm f3.5. So this is a brand new lens. When I'm recording this video today, it's not even published on the 7Artisans website yet, and there's very little information about this lens. So basically this is an APS-C lens, 10mm, very wide, but this is not a fisheye, a regular linear wide-angle lens, which I love. So when the guys at 7Artisan contacted me for a possibility of a review of this guy, I simply said yes because I love such lens. Wide angle, compact and small for micro four thirds. Why not? I'm going to test drive the lens today. Today is not a full review, but I'm going to use this lens to capture so many things, from portraits to landscape and all sorts of things in between. It's going to be exciting. I think you will like today's video. And anyway, I'm also trying a new camera today. This is a Panasonic Lumix G100. Wow, Gary, finally you got a G100. Didn't you hate that camera? You made a video about it a long time ago. Yes, I used to hate the G100 at that time. But looking at it objectively today, I think this is really a good bargain. You get a great camera with great features. I can't wait to take some pictures with this new camera today. It's going to be fun. So yeah, just one camera and one lens for everything that I will capture today. Anyway, we're here, me and my wife, in this beautiful place. This is called Obelix Village in Jogja. It's like a mini zoo. We want to try to explore what we can photograph using the new 7Artisan 10mm right here. The 7Artisan 10mm f3.5 is actually a manual focus only lens with ultra wide angle focal length and somewhat large aperture of f3.5. But what's amazing about this lens is that it is so small, it is so compact, it's almost a pancake lens. I think it's going to be fun. The lens really resonates with my personal philosophy of camera gear choices. Small, light, great image quality and great price. Anyway, enough talking, let's take some pictures. Alright, for our first shot of the day, we will take a portrait of my wife using the 7Artisan 10mm f3.5. This is going to be exciting. This is my first time actually using the lens. It is quite a wide angle. I'm going to set the aperture to f3.5, aperture priority, auto ISO. And as you can see, I'm using a new camera. This is the G100. It's going to be exciting. Right, first composition will be vertical, something like this. We will punch in to focus. Make sure that my wife is in focus. I'm not expecting great bokeh. I want plenty of context. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. I think 10mm is quite flexible, almost like my Panasonic Leica 9mm. Again, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. I'm trying to step back just a little bit, and I want to do a horizontal, or maybe let me get closer. Let me get closer and maybe we can get a little bit more bokeh. Alright, let me focus. This is a manual focus lens, so we have to be patient. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Again. Refocus every time just to make sure that my wife's in perfect focus. Otherwise, it's gonna be dangerous. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. One more. 1, 2, 3. Right, next shot, also portrait of my wife, still with the 10mm. I'm setting the aperture to f3.5. So far, using this lens has been a very pleasant experience. Actually, I don't really mind manual focus with ultra wide angle lens because focusing is not really that difficult. And I'm also quite enjoying the G100. The ergonomic just feels so right. Here's the thumb grip, and then the front grip is just so excellent in my opinion. Anyway, let's take some portraits of my wife. I'm gonna try to get a little bit close. Again, I'm not expecting plenty of background blur. This is not the lens for background blur, but I'm expecting great image quality, sharpness, contrast, detail, that kind of stuff. Hopefully the lens can deliver. Let's go a little bit closer. You're not supposed to go this close with ultra wide angle lens because then you start to get distortion and whatnot, but I don't care, I just want to try. Right, 1, 2, 3. We get a little bit of bokeh on the sides. Maybe it will look kind of unique. I'm not expecting, awesome bokeh like f1.2, 1, 2, 3. But more like a contextual bokeh, something that will enhance the image rather than, making it look distracting. 1, 2, 3. The point with ultra wide angle is that we want to show context of the pictures, not just beautiful bokeh thingy, but we also want to try to show what happens around in the frame. Right, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Last one, vertical. I'm going to step back just a little bit to show more context, so less bokeh. All right, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. All right, for the next picture, also portrait of my wife again, and we found this nice area with lots of little flowers, these frames right here, and also greeneries. I think it'll look nice. First, I want to do a little bit far away, like from here maybe. A little bit closer. I want to crop a little bit of her legs. Right, let's focus, which is a little bit difficult. Let's try to do, because it's so bright outside right now. Right, I think that's it. Right, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Can you go a little bit here? Yeah, nice. Again. Focusing slowly. Nice. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Let's go really close this time, and I want to do horizontal. Right, let's focus again, slowly but surely. Nice, excellent. 1, 2, 3. I really like the 10mm. I think it is quite flexible so far for portrait. Not the ideal lens for portrait, but sometimes when you want to show what's happening on your surroundings, I think this is a good choice using wide angle lens, as long as it's not too wide, like a 7mm or 8mm. 9mm and 10mm, I think is the sweet spot. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Alright, something a little bit different. I want to try to photograph this desk and chair with these plants right here, that tree, and also the archway on the back there. I want to try to create a little bit of a story, a sunny afternoon, trying to enjoy the relaxing vibe and the blue sky as well. It's so beautiful today. It was almost raining earlier this morning, but fortunately we have great weather. Anyway, I'm setting the camera to f5.6 right now. I think we'll get pretty much everything in focus, even with just f5.6, because again we're using micro four thirds camera. Aperture priority auto ISO. I'm keeping everything else automatic. I don't really care about the settings as long as I can nail the perfect exposure and control some specific things that I want, then I'm good. Alright, this is the composition. Let's focus on the desk and chair. Alright, slowly but surely get everything in focus right about there. Nice. Okay, this is the composition. I think this will be great. Excellent. Few more shots. Excellent. I'm only going to show you the best one, like in terms of composition or in terms of sharpness. I'm not going to show you every single picture, so you can get a better idea of what I'm trying to achieve, Alright, for our next photo, I'm trying to capture this carousel right here. I think it looks really nice, really beautiful. We have some flowers right here. I want to try to employ those, and also these leaves right here. I think it is excellent for helping me to frame the carousel nicely. Let's try to crouch so we get more of the flowers and also part of the tree as well. Let's do vertical first, and let's focus on the carousel. Yep, about there. I think we're in focus. f5.6, aperture priority auto ISO. Let's capture the shot. Nice, beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, let's stand up, and now let's do horizontal. Right about there. I'm trying to achieve perfect symmetry, but maybe perfect symmetry isn't really what I'm after. I just want a balanced composition. Perfection usually is the enemy of good, I don't want to force everything to be perfect. I just want everything to look good enough that I think is more, achievable or sustainable. Let's go a little bit closer and do that vertical composition again. I kind of like it because we get more of the blue sky and the tree leaves on top. Nice, beautiful, beautiful. I think the difference between the 10mm and my recently bought Panasonic Leica 9mm isn't really that significant. I can kind of think similarly when I'm switching between these two lenses, like the field of view is very similar, so that's a good thing. It means that when I'm switching back and forth between these two lenses, I don't have to put too much effort in trying to compose things like that. I always, appreciate things like that. Anyway, couple more shots of the carousel from this angle, just to make sure I got everything that I need. Anyway, I accidentally pressed the exposure lock button. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, this is a new camera. You have to forgive me for being clumsy. I already set the custom buttons to do certain things, but I kind of forgot which one are they. Anyway, yeah, f5.6. Nice, something like this. Alright, so now I want to try to photograph the carousel again from different angle this time. I found this pathway right here. I think it makes for a nice leading line which can really improve the image. So let's try to capture some image using these elements in the frame. Unfortunately, it's a little bit dirty. We have some, dirty ropes right there. Please forgive me. I cannot really clean this facility. It's not my job, but let's try to capture the image nevertheless. Fortunately, with a wide angle lens like this, things like that can usually disappear because it is so small on the frame. Anyway, still f5.6 and aperture priority, auto ISO and electronic shutter. This is the frame that we get. I hope you can see the image on the screen of my camera. But anyway, we're going to take the picture. Let's try to focus slowly but surely, making sure that everything is nice and crispy. Let's do horizontal composition first, something like this. Excellent. Now I'm going to crouch so we can get less of the foreground but a more dramatic 3D like image, something like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing on the vlogging camera. By the way, I'm using a new microphone on my vlogging camera. What do you think? Is the sound better or worse? It's the Sennheiser MKE 200 because I found some issues with my wireless DJI microphone. It suddenly disconnects in the middle of video recording, and sometimes it refuses to connect before I start recording, so it's been causing some problem. So I switched to a wired mic. Anyway, vertical composition. Let's focus again, just to make sure everything's still nice and crispy. I want to do one where I have less of the sky, like this. And I want to do one where I have more of the sky. Let's focus again, make sure everything is nice and crispy. Yep, kind of difficult to see, but yeah, I'm doing the best that I can. I love the trees on the left and on the right, helping to frame the image, helping to frame the carousel better. And the blue sky, I think it's always beautiful. Anyway, I want to try the close focusing capability of the 7Artisan 10mm f3.5. It says right here 20 centimeters. Let's try. If it's true, then we can get really close to this particular horse right here and get some better background blur. Let's see. Yeah, let's open the focus magnification and just start moving our camera closer. Well, yeah, it's kind of close right there, just the eye. Let's try to make sure that it is truly 20 centimeters away from the lens or from the camera, like that. All right, I want to try to capture the whole head part of the horse and also the front legs. Hopefully we can, capture it. So I'm trying to focus. So it's not 20 centimeters, but it is quite close. It's about 30 centimeters away, something like that. I'm at f3.5. Let's see how the background blur looks like this with the other horses and on the left. Anyway, I found this nice little, glass house right here. I want to try to photograph it using, again, the 10mm. It's going to be the only lens that I'll use today. So f5.6, because this is a scenery kind of thing. I'll usually open up the aperture if I want background blur. If I don't, then I'll just stick to f5.6. Usually everything will be fine because it's such a wide angle lens. So here's the composition that I have in mind. Vertical, I have a little bit of this flowers area right here to help frame the image, and the house, the glass house, as sort of the main attraction of the image, and the trees helping to frame the whole thing together with blue skies and some clouds. Yep, I think it's gonna look nice. We even have this little pathway on the right to help adding some leading lines as well. Let's try to capture the image, but first focus. Yep, that's the drill. Focus first before we capture the image. I want to focus on the front part of the house. Something like this vertical composition. It's beautiful. Yep. Capture some more. Starting to get cloudy. So I'm going to try the close focusing capability of the 10mm, which is 20 centimeters. Again, we already tested with the horse on the carousel. Now we're going to try it on flower. How is it going to perform for flower photography? I think this is kind of interesting. Let's try. So yeah, I'm setting it already at the minimum focusing distance, f3.5. Now we're going to punch in for the manual focus. Now all we have to do is to move the camera back and forth until we found the perfect focus. Somewhere right there, I think. Beautiful. The bokeh looks kind of swirly and artistic. I kind of like that. Some people think it's the flaw of the lens, but I like to think that it's a feature. Makes the image look more artsy, more edgy, different than the usual clinical modern look. Something like this. I'm trying to feature the other flower on the top right as well. Now I'm ignoring it completely just for, ooh, there's a giant hornet or bee, I don't know, it's scary. Anyway, this is the composition. Nice, beautiful. Right, trying to capture a simple scenery picture using the 10mm. I think this lens is great for that. Let's stop down to f5.6. See how small it is? This is really magical for Micro Four Thirds. Even though this is not really a dedicated Micro Four Thirds lens, they have this on APS-C originally. So yeah, but for Micro Four Thirds, because we have smaller camera bodies, I think this is perfect. Anyway, this is the composition that I have in mind. I want to try to, emphasize that white building right there as sort of the main point of interest of the image. So yeah, anyway, we're going to try to focus on that building, and let's do something like this. Yeah, vertical composition, very simple. Let's try to crouch, because I want to try to make sure that I can get different kind of vibe. When you're crouching, you can introduce some new elements to your pictures, more layer, less layer, that kind of stuff. More emphasize 3Dness sometimes. So yeah, make sure that you don't forget to crouch. Now I'm lowering my camera quite a lot because I want to use these flowers to help frame the image further. Something like this. Yeah, putting the white building right on the middle, but let's try putting it a little bit to the right, rule of thirds and that kind of stuff. Something like this. Yep, I don't know if it works or not, but I kind of like the vibe. Let's put it on the middle again. Let's do vertical again. Alright, for our next photo, I want to try to photograph the birdhouse, the white one right there. And there are actually plenty of birds right now, as you can see in front of me. They're trying to eat something, so maybe they'll be useful as sort of the foreground of my photo. But anyway, at 5.6, I'm going to try to focus on the birdhouse, something like this. And we have the bird sort of acting as the foreground. Nice. Nice, beautiful. Trying to lower the camera angle a little bit so we have less of the sky and more of the birds. Maybe, not quite sure. Let's try horizontal. Oh yeah, it's dramatic as well. We have the stairs on the left and on the right, helping to create some 3D effect on the image. Some bird flying. But I think I prefer vertical. I think it's better. Capture some more. Oh, the bird. Plenty of birds this morning. Yeah, good to see them. They're making some noises. Anyway, I love the birds. I mean, they're kind of cute. Right, some more pictures before we end this composition. Alright, so I want to try to photograph this river area with this stream of water here. I think it'll look cool. Again with the 10mm. I'm setting the lens to f5.6 and aperture priority and auto ISO, electronic shutter. I think this will look great with the G100. Yeah, I really enjoy both the camera and the lens today. I think they're the perfect combo, and the lens is small enough that I don't really notice it. I sometimes forget that I have this lens attached to my camera because it is so small. I hope that the image quality will be great. Please let me know in the comment, guys, what do you think of the image quality so far. But anyway, let's take some picture. Now this is the composition that I have in mind. So we have the river, we have a little bit of the trees, we have a little bit of the structure on the right. I'm hoping that I can get a nice balanced composition. Now let's try to focus. This is f5.6, so everything should be in focus. I'm focusing on one of the rocks right here. That's about it. Yeah, so I think this will be the hyperfocal distance. If I have a subject about 3 or 4 meters away from me, if I set the focus to about 1 meter, then everything from 3 meter all the way to infinity hopefully will be in focus. Let's try. Right, the sun's coming up, so we have more lights, more details on the shadow and highlight. Let's try to take some pictures. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. One more. Nice, beautiful. Let's raise the camera just a little bit so we have more separation between the foreground and background and midground and the sky as well. Everything becomes elongated. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now again, I want to try to photograph this river, but from the other side. We have some rocks, we have some trees. I think they help to add some elements into the image. f5.6, and let's try to focus. This is the composition that I have in mind. I want to try to use that rock right there on the bottom right as sort of the point of interest. So let's focus on that guy. Yeah, right about there. See, 1. Every time I focus to 1 meter, then everything will be in focus until infinity. So yeah, no problem. I kind of figured out already the hyperfocal distance of this lens so that I can focus faster and more effectively. Yep, something like this. Capture the image. Let's raise the camera just a little bit. Let's aim it a little bit more to the left. Nice, nice, beautiful. What about this area right here? Cropping that big rock, so I'm effectively turning that guy into the point of interest. Let's try. Something like this. Yeah, I think it looks great. Let's try horizontal. Not a whole lot of thing going on, but we'll see. One last portrait of my wife. So yeah, I'm thinking of capturing her with this river as sort of the background. And yeah, for that I'm switching to f3.5. I think it's better for portrait, so we can have a little bit of background blur. I want to try to get closer to my wife. Alright, let's focus on her face. Yep, almost. Why is the camera dark? Let me lock the exposure first. So right about there. Yep, that's focus. Yeah, now I can see better. Yep, that's it. Now let's release the exposure lock and let's capture the image. Actually, it is too bright, so I want to try to reduce the exposure compensation to about -1 stop maybe. Let's try. Focus again. Yep, everything's correct. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Again. 1, 2, 3. Really nice. Again. Let's focus again. It's gonna be challenging because it's darker. Right, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's let's disengage the exposure compensation and just do it as it is. Let's try again, because focusing is actually difficult if you're underexposed. Yep. All right, nice. 1, 2, 3. And that wraps up today's video. So that is my test drive of the new Lumix G100 with the 7Artisan 10mm f3.5. I had a lot of fun capturing some different kinds of photos today. I think it's a good exercise for my photography. Hopefully you also enjoyed today's video. Hopefully it's been entertaining, relaxing, makes you want to go out and take pictures as well. That's always been my goal in my channel. So please let me know on the comment down below which one is your favorite picture from today's video. Let me know. I want to try to improve my photography skill. Also, if you have any question, comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel. And if you want to support my work even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description below. Use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. And also purchase my travel photography ebook called Simplifying Travel Photography. I think you guys will like it. Link also on the description below. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.